we'd been traveling full time for a year now, and this one hack, this one change made all the difference for us. Hi everyone, I'm Jimmy from Families on the Horizon, and we've been traveling full time as a family for a year with my two boys who are 7 and 8 years old and my wife Pauline. And this one hack I'm going to share with you guys, this change in thought process, really made a massive difference to the overall experience we had as a family traveling. Okay, enough of a preamble. What is this hack? The hack is knowing the difference between slow traveling and fast traveling and when to do both. So let's go back in time to when we first left on our trip. So when we first left on our trip, we were super keen to get started, as most people are. So we had these grand plans of like moving every couple of weeks, move to the next place to see and do as much as we can. And we did that for the first 4 months of traveling through Malaysia. We visited so much of Malaysia. But what happened is we got burnt out at traveling so fast. This is what fast travel actually is. So fast travel is where you travel between places in less than like 2 or 3 week periods. And now that's actually not a bad way to do it if you're a backpacking couple or you're a single traveler, because logistically there's just less to think about. But what we found as a family fast traveling is that it's just exhausting between having to organize the logistics with kids and, having to find places to stay and things to do, and just the everyday life that's required as a full-time travel family between schooling the children and working and earning a living. It was just moving too fast. And it was fine for a month or two. We were enjoying it and we were really experiencing the sights. But after a couple of months, it really started to wear down on us to the point that it almost sent us back to Australia, where we really got to the point where we were kind of fed up with traveling and we thought about coming back. And that's when we really started to go, why are we traveling so fast? Why are we moving through this country so quickly? We have a year. And when you think about it, that's actually a really long time. After about 4 months of traveling that way, we really decided to slow down. And we decided to make the conscious decision that we want to spend at least a month in one place. The reason for that, it allows us to set up a little bit of a hub, a little bit of a nest for us to feel more like we have a home. And this is something we didn't consider when we started traveling, is that you kind of want to have the feeling of home for your kids mainly, but also you as adults. It's nice to wake up and not have to just live out of suitcases. When you're doing schooling, it's nice to be able to set up a little place where the kids can do schooling. When you're working, it's nice to not be having to work off your physical lap with a laptop and work off a desk. Once we sort of got into the mindset that we didn't need to move and see absolutely everything in every single country, traveling got a lot better for us as a family. We started moving into this slow travel mode, and we found that we actually started to extend that time more and more, to the point where we spent 3 months in one spot in Vietnam. When we went to Vietnam, we didn't travel all over Vietnam. We basically visited Ho Chi Minh City and Da Nang, and used Da Nang as our home base and went on trips to different places. We used it as our center and our home base. Completely changed our travel experience as a family. We went from the point where we were almost over it to the point where we're like, actually, we could do this forever. We had a nice place in Vietnam and it was nice to come home to, and it was nice to set up and just have a place to work, and the kids have a place to do schooling, have a place to get away from us. And then after the 3 months, it was like, okay, well, we haven't been packing up every 2 weeks. It's actually nice to pack up and be excited to move on to the next place. And I think this is a mistake that a lot of travel families make, is they get into travel and they're like, okay, well, we need to see as much as we can in a year. And this is why I said slow traveling and fast traveling go together at the start, because I don't recommend just slow traveling, but I also don't recommend just fast traveling. There's this thing in the middle where it's like, you slow travel when you feel like you need to slow travel, and you fast travel when there's a lot to do and see, and you just do it in small pulses. So my recommendation to most families is I would recommend doing 3-4 months of slow traveling and then a month of fast traveling. 3-4 months of slow traveling, then a month of fast traveling. So pick a country, spend a time in one place, and then just stack all the stuff that you want to do at the end. That's what we have found has been the perfect mix between not burning out from just moving consistently and all the issues that come with that when you got kids, and just being in one spot and basically living somewhere else. It's like the perfect balance between that. We really managed to hone that in the last 8 weeks of our trip in Thailand, where we spent 4 weeks in Can Chon and Buri. and we just sort of worked around Kanchanaburi, and then we spent 6 days in Bangkok just punching out different activities. It was like the perfect balance. So we're going into this year, to 2024. We leave in February again for our trip. At the moment, we're just house sitting. That's why the different building and things like that. But we're going into 2024 with that mentality. So we are going to slow right down. When we get to Malaysia, we're going to spend 3 months in Malaysia at least, maybe even 6, and then use that, and we'll just pulse through different countries and pulse through different places in Malaysia a month at a time, 2 weeks at a time, then come back to our home base, spend a couple of months there, regroup, recover, get excited again, then go out. That's what I found has been the one hack that made a difference, because obviously there's a lot of things we've done as a family traveling, but none of them have really made the difference as much as slowing down and really setting up a base and really immersing yourself in the culture by going a little bit slower and spending 2 or 3 months, a month in a place, and then go do 2 weeks, rush around, get exhausted, come back, rest, go out, get exhausted, come back and rest. That to us has been a game changer, and it's actually the reason we're going around again and we're traveling again in 2024. If you're a family that wants to travel full time, don't get sucked into having to see everything all the time. I would highly recommend that you take our hack and you run with it, and just remember that everything is going to be there when you're ready for it. So if you miss something this time around, you can always go back to it in the future. And that's what we're going to do this time around. Is we missed a lot of things in Thailand and we missed a lot of things in Vietnam. All we're going to do is this year, we're going to go back and do it again. You got to remember that these countries and these places have been around long before we were here. They're going to be here long after we leave. So you don't have to rush it because you feel you need to get value out of the trip. The value of traveling full-time as a family actually comes from spending time together as a family. And there's nothing better than slow traveling and being somewhere else and immersing yourself in the culture and going out on weekends and being like, wow, we're actually discovering a city like the locals do. That is one of the best parts of traveling. And it's not just about seeing as much as you can in the shortest period of time. It's sometimes about soaking it all in and remembering how amazing the experience that you are fortunate enough to do actually is. For me, happened in Da Nang when I was sitting on a beach, drinking a beer, going, I'm in one of the most beautiful places on the planet right now, and this is literally 700 meters from where we live. Hopefully that hack, that travel hack, lived up to your expectations of these hacks on YouTube. But honestly, that was a massive game changer for us, and I would highly recommend that you travel, spend 1 or 2 or 3 months in one place, and then pulse out and do like 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, get exhausted, come back, rest, and just do that for as long as you feel comfortable doing. But obviously that's not the only part of traveling. One of the biggest parts of traveling is knowing what to pack. So I have this video here on everything we've packed as a full-time family that travels. I'd make sure to watch this because if you don't pack the right stuff, it can really ruin the experience for you. So make sure to watch this video here, and I'll catch you on the horizon.